What's up, guys? Cameron Fous here. Just want to go over a couple of the recent trades. First off, we're going to go over CLSN. This was a great looking revival play that we bought into 2 days ago. It did have what it appeared to be a false breakout. I bought in here at 40. Where did I buy in? 405. Here on the daily chart, we are breaking out here. If we pull back the last two candles, you can see here this was a revival pattern breakout where resistance was forming here in these levels right around the horizontal line that we're showing here. For some reason, my pop-up box is not showing up with the prices, but about 410, 411 there was the actual breakout trigger. So I bought in pre-breakout. And it had a nice close there, but the following session, this thing came back down, had a little bit of profit taking going on there, but it was still above the 13 EMA, still holding up above 4, which is a whole number support level, which is always going to act as a big support or resistance, depending on which side the price is on. So obviously the profit target here on this CLSN trade would be, the next whole number, which is $5 per share. So going forward here, we had an awesome rip today. We gapped open. I locked in half my profits here today, but we did get an F1 breakout here today right out of the gates. As always, an F1 is you see typically a gap open followed by volume. You can see here we had this nice gap open, big volume spike on the intraday chart from here. Going forward, basically an F1 breakout trigger, as I called out in chat as well, would be over about the 433 to the high of 436, so that's kind of the range break there to get to new highs. From here, we did get that F1 breakout here, kind of consolidated, but still grinded the 13 EMA on the 1-minute chart here. And from there, we kind of just went sideways, and then we actually had a solid F3 breakout into the close at about 447 to 448, and we had an okay close. We didn't close near highs. We closed at 457. Highs were about 475. Hopefully we can see this continue to grind up towards that target level of $5 per share. I locked in half my profits, about 500 bucks. Still have an open gain here on this of about 700. So nice trade so far in CLSN. I did go in for not a huge position, only 3,000 shares to begin with, but this chart is working out perfectly so far. Another one, let's take a look at BGMD. This is one that I've been watching for a while. It's been on the watch list all week. Prior to today, what I was watching for here was this flag pattern breakout. If we pull back today's candle, on the watch list, I was looking for the 13 EMA bounce, but we didn't get that pullback all the way down there, but we started forming up this flag pattern on the daily chart. So I was watching this stock to see if we could break out of this kind of mini flag here. Basically, we had that first initial run on volume. Here's phase 2 that's happening. It came back down and retested the 13 EMA support. That was actually a survival play that we played here at about 106 all the way up to the 120s, 130s. I can't remember where I sold, but we played that for an awesome gain there because that was a survival pattern that triggered off the 13 EMA support. Finally broke out of this neckline level about the 110 area. And that from there had a huge rip all the way up to the 150s. Now we're in for round 3 here, as this was going to break over or I was watching for it to potentially break out over this kind of flag pattern. We did get that move today and had a nice close. We did close at 152, so we do have the highest closing position so far in this pattern. As you can see, this closed at about 150 here on this last spike. Today we closed at 152, so we basically are closing at all-time highs of this breakout. So hopefully we can see a continuation here. We did get some nice buyers into the close. I longed right out of the gates here at 144. Then we had another secondary breakout at 148 where I actually added to this position and sold. Where did I sell? I think it was about 159 or 160 or so. Maybe it was 161. Locked in half profits of about $757. And then from there, always as with the F1s or morning breaks, always watch the 13 EMA on the 1-minute chart, because the first breakdown typically is a sign of a potential reversal, at least intraday. So it's important a lot of times that you just lock in some gains at least a little bit, or if you're just trying to scalp a stock, you can take all your profits. And I'd be up more than I was now if I just would have sold everything up in the 160s for about 1,500 bucks. But, I wanted to swing this. I like the daily chart. I think it does have, potential here. Target would be the next whole number at $2 per share for the swing. But intraday, it did break the 13 EMA right here at about 159. From there, it came all the way back down towards my buy price at 144. I actually added more shares again, 2,500 shares there. My average price now on BGMD is 146 for 6,500 shares. Now we have that nice close up in the 150s again. So hopefully this can see a continuation here on the swing. It's definitely going to be a volatile stock, but I do like the daily chart here on BGMD. Another one here that's looking, okay. This one's definitely a little bit more of a risky play. But what I like to trade are 13 EMA bounces after a stock that's made, a significant run to the upside. And I also like to play them when they are bouncing off of a red to green move right around the 13 EMA area. So as you can see here, ELMD, this had that huge run from about $1 all the way up to $3.50, and this thing has been straight down for the past week and a half until it came down to the 13 EMA here, which is also at a whole number support level of $2 per share. It did have that panic sell-off below it here this morning. I took advantage of that panic. That was basically stops getting taken out as soon as it broke down below 2. If you look at the intraday chart, I went long 5,000 shares at 193 here. As I was hoping to see a potential red to green move after this little panic sell-off here that broke down below 2, which was also the 13 EMA support on the daily chart. From here, we did get a nice rip all the way up to 213, and then kind of consolidated. We closed at 205. So overall, the bounce potential for this stock is definitely looking good so far. I'm up over 10 cents on those 5,000 shares. So hopefully we can see this finally start stabilizing and get a rebound to the upside. So that's what I like to look for on 13 EMA bounces. A stock that's made a huge run to the upside and came all the way back down to 13 EMA. And then I like to watch for a red to green move on those stocks right around the 13 EMA. So ELMD, although it didn't close green on the day, it did get that first initial red to green trigger, and we're now kind of stabilizing here at that whole number support of $2 per share. So hopefully we can see this continue to break out to the upside into next week. What else we got here? BIOS. If the chart will load. BIOL. If the chart will load. I don't know what's going on here. Hello. TC2000 here, failing me. All right, here looking at BIOL. This is also breaking out of a nice chart pattern here. Looking at the support in the and resistance levels, here's another example of just a whole number, an area which is a decent buy level. As you can see, this did have a mini survival pattern breakout with basically a trigger at $3 per share. I bought a little bit later. I was looking at this F3 into the close pattern. Basically, a move over 306 would be a potential trigger for this to move back towards highs of the day. As you can see, we got that initial run up here out of the gates this morning, then consolidated, and I did buy here at 304 for how many shares did I get? 5,000 shares. Actually 305 was my average fill price there. So I bought into this breakout right over this 306 level here, came back down, and I added actually my whole entire position there at 305, and we get a nice close here up at 314 that broke out of highs of the day here. So this is an F3 breakout, basically always an F pattern that basically breaks out into the last 2 hours of the session, typically is a sign of a potential gap open into the following session and continued buying pressure, in this case into Monday. So profit target here, longer term wise, would be 350 or so to retest those highs. We'll see what happens. I would have no problem just taking a quick scalp into a gap open on Monday. This thing's already pretty extended, but I do like this little quick pattern that we have formed up here on BIOL. Another example of an F3 breakout that I bought into was VICL. We got in here on VICL at 139. Basically this thing just flagged here into the close, had a strong close, breaking out to new highs above this flag pattern here on the intraday chart, also a strong daily chart. So basically just looking for a gap open here to sell into Monday. But that's basically about it for the stocks I wanted to talk about. I'm always just using the intraday charts and also basing it off kind of hoping to find Fous 4 patterns on the daily, and then using the F patterns on the intraday scale to kind of pinpoint my entries and exits. So you have to be able to utilize both the intraday and the daily chart. So basically, if you haven't watched the Fous 4 training, Fous 4, the first DVD, is all about reading daily charts. Fous 4 Part 2 is all about reading the intraday charts and how to implement those into the daily chart routine. So you have to go through training to really understand what I'm talking about and understand the watch lists and understand what I'm talking about when you get an alert. If you don't know what I'm talking about when you get an alert, you shouldn't be trading, because you must know what you're doing if you want to make money in the long run trading stocks. But anyways, it's Friday. I made about $2,500 today. Really can't complain with that. I was pretty inactive for most of the session. I basically just traded the first 2 hours and the last hour. The middle of the session, I was actually snoozing. So, you can go to sleep during the middle of the session, or at least, have some alerts set if some stocks fall that you're holding. But, the most important hours to be there are the first 2 and the last 1 to 2 hours. But anyways, TGIF, hopefully you guys had a great week and have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.